let me walk you through what's been happening in Pakistan. To put things bluntly, the United States tried to get rid of the Pakistani Prime Minister, Imran Khan, and they failed. He outmaneuvered them. So you guys remember that he gave a fiery speech a few days ago saying that he had a letter, right? A secret letter where they had threatened to remove him through a vote of no confidence, okay? So that was how they were going to do it. That was how they were going to get rid of Imran Khan. And at the time, I told you I suspected the US would have something to do with this. I wasn't sure. I told you I was just speculating. But Imran Khan himself has come out and said that the US is behind this, and he's even named the diplomats, right? So this is what happened. They were set to hold a vote of no confidence to get rid of Imran Khan, and you had people in the opposition, people in his party who were willing to switch to the opposition, where they would have enough votes to get rid of him. The opposition needs a simple majority of 172 votes in Pakistan's 342-seat parliament to unseat him, right? His small but key coalition partners, along with 17 of his own party members, have joined the opposition to remove him. That's how they were going to do it. And he was saying that the United States has basically bought off some of these politicians, these local politicians, using them as tools in order to oust him. And this no confidence vote was set to take place on Sunday. What happened? Imran Khan, he goes to the Pakistani president and he advises him to dissolve the parliament, okay? But before he did that, the deputy speaker ruled that the no confidence vote was unconstitutional. So you had two moves that basically saved him from that. Pakistan Parliament dismisses no confidence motion against Khan. The National Assembly deputy speaker of the ruling Pakistan PTI party dismissed the move against Khan on Sunday, saying it went against Article 5 of the Constitution. Later on Sunday, a statement from the presidency confirmed that the National Assembly had been dissolved, which means elections will be held within 19 days. So again, just to recap, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly says the no confidence vote is unconstitutional. The president dissolved the National Assembly, and Imran Khan announces snap elections within 90 days. So he basically said, you're not going to get rid of me. No matter who the United States bought off, you're not going to oust me through a no confidence vote. We will hold elections and let the people decide. The people of Pakistan will decide, not the United States. So he's outmaneuvered them for now. And you might be wondering, well, why did they want to get rid of him, right? Why would they want to get rid of Imran Khan? Is it true that they want to get rid of him? Here's what the Americans had to say when they were asked about this.
The Prime Minister of Pakistan accused the U.S. of working with the opposition to remove him from power. He just said that today. What's the White House reaction to this?
There is absolutely no truth to that allegation.
And now Ned Price, State Department.
The Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, said in his speech that there was a threat letter that purportedly shows evidence of a foreign conspiracy to oust his government. In what appeared to a slip of tongue, he named the U.S. as the country behind the threat. So what is your reaction? Do you have any comment on this?
Well, we are closely following developments in Pakistan, and we support Pakistan's constitutional process and the rule of law. But when it comes to those allegations, there is no truth to them.
The U.S. denies this vehemently. Now ask yourself, why would Pakistan's prime minister, the most powerful man in the country, come out and make such an outrageous allegation that not only is there a conspiracy to oust him, but it's also being led by the U.S.? Is that completely detached from reality? Would you really put that past the Americans? Now, you must be asking yourself, why would they do that? Why is the United States trying to get rid of Imran Khan? Why? Well, two reasons. And last week when he talked about this letter, I speculated that it's these two reasons. And Imran Khan himself has come out and said that it's these two reasons. Number one, he's not playing ball, right? The United States and the EU, they sanctioned Russia. They slapped Russia with sanctions. They want everybody to fall in line. You remember they were threatening India with sanctions if they don't stop buying Russian crude. Yeah. And so the day that the war started, so end of February, Imran Khan, he not only refuses to sanction Russia, he goes to Russia and he buys gas and he buys wheat So he's basically telling the Americans, sorry, I'm not going to be your lapdog. And the EU sent him a letter rebuking him, pushing him to condemn Russia. And then he gives this fiery speech and he says, who do you think we are in Pakistan? You think we are your slaves to do what you want us to do? And in the same speech, he criticizes the war on terror. He said, we helped the Americans. We were their ally in the war on terror. And what do we get? Tens of thousands of Pakistanis killed. Scores of Pakistanis killed.
अभी ये जरा सुने, यूरोपियन यूनियन के एम्बेसडर ने खत लिखा पाकिस्तान को कि आप रूस के खिलाफ उसके मुखालिफ स्टेटमेंट दें, उसके खिलाफ वोट दें। मैं ये यूरोपियन यूनियन के एम्बेसडर से पूछता हूं कि क्या आपने हिंदुस्तान को भी ये खत लिखा था? क्योंकि मैं अपनी कौम को याद करवाना चाहता हूं कि ये वो पाकिस्तान था जिसने ये नेटो की मदद की, जो वॉर ऑन टेरर थी, हमने उनका साथ दिया। मैं कभी ना साथ देता, मैं अपनी मुल्क को बाहर रखता उस जंग से, लेकिन उस वक्त का जो सरबराह था उन्होंने उनका साथ दिया। क्या मिला पाकिस्तान को? 80,000 पाकिस्तानियों की जानें गई।
He's pointed out the hypocrisy of international law, and he's not playing ball. He refuses to fall in line when it comes to Russia. And I speculated that's why they want to get rid of him. They think that they can, that he's a pushover because they know they can't do this with India. They know they can't do this with China. They thought, yeah, let's try our luck with Pakistan. No, it's not happening. Remember, Pakistan is a nuclear power. It's a strategic partner. It's one of the most important countries in Asia. They're in for a big surprise. They, if the Americans, they're so arrogant, they think they can push over Pakistan. Again, they are in for a very, very, very big surprise. And even in the New York Times, they say the same thing, right? Pakistan, a nuclear-armed nation that is home to the world's second largest Muslim population, has for decades been a reluctant, if important, American partner in the campaign against terrorism. And here they reveal to you the real reason, the same reason why they're trying to get rid of him. They say, quote, but the country has drifted away from the United States under Prime Minister Imran Khan, particularly after the American withdrawal from Afghanistan, where Pakistan was long accused of nurturing the Taliban and is a supporter of the Taliban regime that took over last year. Pakistan has also embraced a strategic partnership with China and closer ties with Russia. That's it. That is literally everything you need to know in one paragraph. So, do you see how sometimes they kind of say the quiet part out loud? That's what it is.
उनके साथ मिलके ये पूरी साजिश हुई है और अमेरिका को मेरे से क्या गिला है? मैं तो कभी एंटी अमेरिकन नहीं हूं। उनके साथ मिलके ये पूरी साजिश हुई है और अमेरिका को मेरे से क्या गिला है? मैं तो कभी एंटी अमेरिकन।
The vote, the no confidence vote, being ruled unconstitutional by the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. What the opposition have done is they've run now to the Supreme Court and they're trying to get that decision overturned so that the no confidence vote goes ahead. That's why I told you he's outmaneuvered them for now. They're set to issue a ruling on Tuesday, and I'll just read you very briefly what the possible outcomes are according to the New York Times. So there are 3 possible outcomes from the hearing, which could last for days, if not longer. Opposition leaders hope that the court will quickly overturn Mr. Khan's decision and order the vote of no confidence, which had been scheduled for Sunday, to proceed immediately in Parliament. The court could choose a middle ground, determining that the governing party's move was unconstitutional, but opting not to restore the dissolved parliament or to allow the no confidence vote to take place. The court could decline to interfere in parliamentary proceedings, effectively upholding Mr. Khan's actions and paving the way for early elections to be held within 90 days. Now, it's anyone's guess what will happen, right? But you need to understand something very interesting about Pakistan. Not one Pakistani prime minister has ever completed their 5-year term. Think about that. There's always something, right? They've either been assassinated or they've lost power in some other way. Benazir Bhutto is probably the most famous one. She was killed. which is a great shame. Again, I really love Pakistan, right? I lived there as a child for several years, and I miss it very much. And so again, it angers me to see the West meddling in places where it doesn't belong. But especially here, it really angers me because they've hurt Pakistan a lot. With Al Qaeda, with their war on terror. Just decades and decades and decades of terrible foreign policy, which is, putting it really mildly, it's really imperialism, and causing so much death and destruction. Once again, who are the bulk of the victims? It's civilians. In Pakistan, you need to understand something. The army plays a very important role because you've had not a single prime minister finishing their term. The army has always taken over in a sort of interim role. And right now, because the parliament has been dissolved, they have to name an interim government with the army, of course, on the side, but they have to name replacement. Like a caretaker prime minister and so on. And they've put up a few suggestions. Khan has named a former judge. Here's the person that he named. So he proposed the former Chief Justice, Gulzar Ahmed, a populist judge who, like the prime minister, has professed to be on a mission to eradicate corruption. And he retired from the Supreme Court in February, right? So that's who he has proposed to take his place till the elections are fulfilled. And of course, for those of you who don't know, Imran Khan, right, the prime minister, or who was the prime minister until yesterday, he actually used to be a cricket player, right? So he's a sports superstar turned politician. He's been a politician for quite a while. He has a lot of popular support in Pakistan. That's why it was very smart of him to call for the elections, because there's a very good chance that he wins them, right? So not only does he outmaneuver the US, but he also gets to secure his power, or his government, let's say, for longer. I don't, when I say secure his power, I don't think it's fair to call this guy like power hungry. It's not true. I think he means what he says. I don't, I'm not endorsing him or something, but I think he is anti-corruption when he says anti-corruption. I think it's unfair that the US is going after him. Regardless what you think of his policies or his performance as a cricket player, if that's relevant. Regardless of that, the US should not be doing this. This is not okay. Again, Pakistan is very crucial. Why is Pakistan crucial? Because it's a strategic partner with China. It's neighboring India, neighboring Afghanistan, or bordering, I should say. And again, the fact that it's a nuclear power, of course, adds to Pakistan's prestige, but it's not the only factor, right? This whole area, this entire region is crucial, not just since ancient times for the Silk Road, like I was giving my talk at university today, but just for the future as well. China is actually reviving the new Silk Road. And, all of Asia, specifically Asia, will be the hub, the economic hub of the planet. And we will have literally, as the name implies, a new Silk Road. Now, speaking of China have come out in support of Imran Khan, indirectly speaking, right? So they haven't specifically, they haven't explicitly done that, but they've put it this way. So the Chinese government have said that in his meeting with Pakistani Foreign Minister Qureshi, State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi said that China will continue to view and promote China-Pakistan relations from a strategic and long-term perspective. China will always support Pakistan in defending national sovereignty, key term, right? Territorial integrity and national dignity. We will be Pakistan's most reliable partner and staunchest supporter. So the Chinese are basically saying, I'm going to translate from politics to English. They're saying back off. They're telling the Americans to back off, and they're telling the people who are trying to oust him, it's not going to work. We have his back. That's what they're signaling. Again, it's not just a question of China being a partner of Pakistan's, but this is their backyard. Countries don't like when you start causing trouble in their backyard, right? When Iran, for example, is fighting Al-Qaeda in Syria and Iraq, it's not because they want to do that and have tons of their best fighters, martyred. They're doing that because they don't want this danger in their backyard. And of course, because they also have principles and they care about their allies. That's, of course, a major thing. But you understand my point. Countries don't like that. They really don't appreciate that. The U.S. has maintained a policy of the Monroe Doctrine. Like, it's not only we don't like trouble in our backyard, it's our backyard, and we are gonna run things. Now, what's very interesting is this letter that Imran Khan has talked about, where he says that they're threatening to oust him through this vote of no confidence. And that, this message was also transmitted through the Pakistani ambassador to the US, right? He hasn't been allowed to publish it. So it turns out, again, this is from the print, they said that citing violation of oath, Islamabad High Court bars Imran Khan from making the threatening document public. So this is important, right? Islamabad's High Court barred Prime Minister Imran Khan from making public the details of a threatening or secret document, as it would lead to a violation of his oath taken by him under the Constitution. Under Pakistan's Constitution, as per Section 5 of the Official Secrets Act, no document in possession of a public office holder can be disclosed to a person other than to whom he is authorized to communicate it. You think that the Islamabad High Court would block Pakistan's Prime Minister from publishing this threatening letter if it was fake? Why on earth would they stop him from publishing a fake document? It's obviously real. If you needed any more confirmation. Is that not confirmation that it's real? On top of the fact that, just logically speaking, I don't think this guy would make up a bloody letter. We're not in high school. The fact that court won't let him publish it, that's very significant. If it doesn't prove, it certainly adds to its credibility, right? I think it's very, it's very compelling, very, very compelling. And so this comes at a time, they say, when the Prime Minister earlier in the day said that he will share the foreign-funded conspiracy letter with senior journalists and ally party members, which is evidence that outside elements are trying to topple the government. Imran Khan claimed the letter clearly shows how big conspiracy is against the government, and it is far bigger conspiracy than what I am telling you. Again, I think this adds credence to what he's saying. The High Court wouldn't bother blocking a garbage letter that's not real. There's definitely something there. And this is what happens. This is another indication of, when you don't play ball and you start criticizing Western foreign policy and you won't fall in line behind the EU and the US, they get very upset with you. They think that you're a pushover, and he's showing them that it's not going to work. And I really, when he says we are not your slaves, I'm listening to him like, damn right. Yeah, damn right. Who do these people think they are? In the EU and in the West, I've seen articles where they're criticizing Africans for not getting on board with sanctions against Russia, right? So they say, oh, it's disappointing and all this kind of nonsense. I mean, excuse me, who do you think you are? You think African countries, Asian countries are your slaves? Mind your damn business. The whole idea is that you have to respect people and accept that they have their own foreign policy choices to make. It's nothing aggressive. No one is attacking you. They're not threatening you. They just want to be left alone. They're mature, these are independent countries. I think they're smart enough to decide whether they want to sanction Russia or not. They're not just going to do it because you pressured them or shamed them into it. Say, oh, it's disappointing. Like as if, they're too stupid to make up their own minds. I wish they could see the light. What the hell is that? That's absolutely ridiculous. And it's really, again, it's this colonial arrogance. It just never goes away. It never goes away. And they're saying it implicitly. And of course, in terms of African countries, and when it comes to Imran Khan, it's very explicit, right? The EU sending him a letter, like, what is that? Who do you think you are? You think this is a British colony? What century do you think this is? It's ridiculous, really. We will see what happens with the Supreme Court, because, again, we have several outcomes, right? It could very well end up that the Supreme Court in Pakistan says that blocking the vote of no confidence was unconstitutional. It has to go ahead. And then, who knows? He could be ousted because the numbers indicate that there are enough people to get rid of him. People defected from his party, right? And there's a lot of hot rhetoric going on. People are calling Imran Khan a traitor. They're saying, you know, I'm talking about high-level politicians in Pakistan. They're saying that he's a traitor because he has violated the constitution by blocking the vote of no confidence, right? By outmaneuvering it. So they're saying he's a traitor. He violated the constitution. And then on the flip side, you have people saying, like, you guys are traitors. You're part of a foreign conspiracy. It's very heated, right? It's very heated. It's very, very, very important what's happening right now. And I think this is, again, one of those underreported things which is related to Ukraine, but they're not telling you about. And this is what I've been telling you guys. Ukraine is the catalyst for global change. It's so much bigger than what's happening there, which I'm not trying to minimize. But again, you know, there are events that occur once in a century, twice in a century perhaps, that really change the course of history. This is one of them. This is absolutely one of them. And you are seeing reverberations. You are seeing ripples, you know, shockwaves, a seismic shift as a result of Ukraine globally, literally globally. And this is one of them. This is one of them. So, of course, there are people who say also that, well, Imran Khan, his relationship with the army in Pakistan, with the military, was soured since last year because, you know, he didn't approve of a nominee they had for intelligence. So, you know, they point to that thing. And they also point to the fact that right now, the Pakistani military, they say that they're neutral, but they've also put out statements that kind of indicate they're on the side of the US. And this is not good because I told you, you know, there are certain countries like Egypt and Pakistan where the military is very important. Very, very, very important because there's so much, you know, there's so often or every once in a while, there's such intense political instability. The military has to step in and take over the government, you know, in an interim capacity. And that's happened in Egypt many times, and that's happened in Pakistan. And so people are saying that the fact that they're not 100% on the same page, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't bode well for him, right? It spells trouble. Again, it could be nothing also, but it is worth taking into consideration. Again, me personally, I think that what's happening in Ukraine did affect this. When Imran Khan is going to Russia, so he's not just trading with Russia, he's literally going to Moscow, meeting with Putin, the right when this war starts. That's a middle finger. That's figuratively a middle finger to the West. That's what it is. I'm telling you, this is how diplomacy works. It's not what they say, it's what they do, right? So that was a middle finger to them. And again, I appreciate the middle finger, not because I necessarily agree with Russia, but because I like seeing countries in the global south say, fuck you, we are not a colony, we're not your slaves, and we're going to do what we like. And of course, I have a particular affinity for Pakistan as well, but you get the point, right? So they don't like that. Now, of course, you could say, well, India bought oil from the Russians, right? Yeah, but India is in a different position. India is much more, how can we say this? They have their eggs in many baskets, right? The Indians, they don't really care whether, you know, the West wants to sanction Russia, doesn't want to sanction Russia. If the oil is on sale, which it is, they've been offered it as a discount, they'll take the oil. It's all about the self-interest, you know? And the Indians, they have weapons from Russia. I think it's a different situation. I don't think you can compare it 100%. Pakistan is a bit different in terms of how the Americans view it. That's what I'm talking about, right? So, yeah. And in any case, we'll see what happens tomorrow with this vote of no confidence, what the Supreme Court decides. But I hope that... I think the best thing is, again, elections is really the best way to decide what happens. You're literally giving the people the choice. And I think that is smart because not only is it the democratic thing to do or the fair thing to do, but it's also logical because he has that popular support. There's a BBC article that I just went through. I can show it to you very quickly about Imran Khan. They talk about his fate hanging in the balance and all this stuff. I think they titled it, he's fighting for his political life, right? So they were talking about what's happening now. Imran Khan, support for Pakistan Prime Minister despite likely defeat. And they talk about how even though there are people that are unhappy with him and they're unhappy with the rising prices, although again, I don't know if it's fair to blame that just on him. Everybody is rising prices right now. But again, these are concerns that Pakistanis have expressed. And they say that despite that, he still has popular support, you know? And by the way, important to know, Sharif would likely be his replacement, right? So that's important to know, because that guy's brother has been, 3 times prime minister, and they political dynasties, they like to hold on to power. But in any case, look at, for example, Ali Malik, junior accountant. He said he also voted for Mr. Khan in 2018, but remains supportive of him. Quote, "We have to endure this hard time. Imran Khan has taken a stance and we should stand with him." If you have elections, he's going to win. If there's no shenanigans, as they say from the Americans. And we'll see what happens. But again, just another example of what they do to you when you don't fall in line.